So this is interesting. I can ditch my battery charger and maintainer, my jump starter pack I take on the bike, and also charge a laptop whilst on the go on the bike. If this lives up to the hype, then it's no ordinary dual USB socket. This is the TR100, also from Chigee, but has gone a little bit under the radar as they're getting a lot of attention for their CarPlay devices, including from me if you wanted to look at my other videos. I saw it on their website and reached out as I thought, hang on a minute, there's more to this than meets the eye. The specs are fairly simple. It can charge devices at up to 100 watts, which is the kind of power you get from a MacBook charger. It can fast charge with a load of different protocols, but more importantly, it can actually put charge back into the bike battery at up to 100 watts if you hook it up to a power pack or a standard USB wall socket. This means if you wake up in the morning on the campsite, you've got a flat battery, all is not lost. Have a leisurely breakfast whilst the battery pack is hooked up, and hopefully by the time it is time to go, you will have a startable bike. It's got two ports, one USB-C with PD charging and the older USB-A with IQ charging. What these basically mean is that the port communicates with the charging device to sort out the best current and voltage. Getting into the detail a little bit, my bike has got a 12 amp hour absorbent glass mat or AGM battery, which is equivalent to 144 watt hours. So in theory, the battery should be able to charge in around 1.5 hours from completely flat if you have a battery pack that can throw out that kind of power. My 20,000 milliamp battery pack, which I have on the bike anyway, should be enough to charge the BMW battery to full with ease and still have around 40% left. It's very bad for a battery to start an engine when low on charge, as it can damage the battery. The battery can easily draw 100 amps for the first few seconds it takes to turn over the engine, so for safety you want to put at least 25% charge into the bike. Using my battery pack, if it could pull the full 100 watts, I reckon this would take around 20 minutes. It can also provide power at 100 watts, but be warned that would completely flatten the battery in around an hour. Keep the engine running whilst doing this, so great for perhaps charging a laptop in the rear case whilst you're on the go. Right, unboxing wise, this shouldn't be too difficult. It's a dual USB socket after all. So let's see what we got. Decently packaged as normal for Chigee. That's useful. A manual. I think on this one you're actually going to need to read the manual because there's lots of options on how you charge the bike, how you set up the actual charger itself, what kind of battery you've got. I know that from the website, but we'll get into that in a little bit later. There's the little baby herself. Cute and sweet. Not a lot to it, but then I wouldn't expect there to be a lot to it. In true Apple style, it's got packaging on packaging. So let's get rid of that. So it is a nice discreet little device. Lovely little thing. Assuming these just pop out, they do. There's a USB-C buried quite deep in there, as you can see, and a USB-A on the top. Nice and easy to define. Pretty good waterproofing on those as well. You can tell by how deeply they recess into the socket. And then you've got the power lead straight to the battery, and that's going to be your power. That's metal, so I'm guessing that's going to produce quite a lot of heat if it actually has to deal with a lot of charging in and out. So I think when we install that, we'll be careful not to put it anywhere that the heat is going to cause an issue, or actually where it's going to be too hot and then it can't cope with the heat that it's taking. A couple of other bits in there. So you've got a couple of sticky pads, and there's a metal bracket if you want to attach it to the wing mirror. I'm probably not going to do that. I'm probably going to put mine on the back of the bike because I've already got dual USB sockets on the front. We'll see that when I come to the installation, which I'm going to do now. So in my current setup, I've got a straightforward battery tender. It's a NOCO actually, an OCO. Goes straight into a socket there, which I've got fitted up into the bike, and I just pop the cap on it and tuck it away when it's not being used. So after a lot of umming and ahhing, instead of mounting it on the handlebars up here, I've decided I'm going to put it on the back of the bike because that's where I prefer to have it. So I've actually mounted it just there because I happen to have a rear rack mount on here on my tank bag between the panniers, and so I can just use the same bracket. So of course the other benefit of mounting it at the back of the bike, you haven't got any problem with the heat from the engine, which it recommends to avoid in the instructions, and actually it's pretty easy to get from there to the battery as well. Just running it under the rear of the seat, it'll just come down straight through here. All you've got to do, easiest way, just zip tie the two together, give them a poke through, they'll come out no problem at all, and you've just got them straight out, and from there straight to the battery, which is just there. You'll see on the R1250 GS it's actually just enough cable run to be able to leave this heatsink box up here under the seat, It just runs down through there, along the edge here, and it'll run up over the top, and you can just poke it through and it'll come out through here. Almost perfect length. Okay, all wired in. Let's give it a first test. Got my 360 camera now, and only needs a bit of charge, so let's see if we get any action. And there we have it, pulsing away, 89% and charging. Right, I've run the spotlights for about 15 minutes just to pull a little bit of juice out of the battery, and I thought I'll see if it actually takes a charge. So apparently what you're supposed to do is just press the button on the top, and that should give me a blue light. Press it again, I should get a blue light. If I hold it down for 2 seconds, it should switch. If it switches to purple, that's AGM. Now I should be good to go. All I've got to do is plug this little baby in, and just plug in. That should, it's applying power. Yep, yeah, you can see that breathing on the light means it's slow charging. This is only an 18 watt output power bank, this one, so it's not going to charge it very fast at all. So I've just read the manual again. I told you need to read the manual on this one, and you have to press the button once again once it's plugged in. If it's just breathing, that means it's just maintaining the battery, so very slow trickle charge. Press the button again, it then goes into fast charging mode. Right, so you've seen my fiddling about. If you can't bring yourself to read a manual, here's a quick recap of the modes. There are two: charging accessories or charging the bike from a power bank or USB power source plugged into the mains. Press the button, you'll get a green light or a blue light. Green is for accessories, blue is for charging. You can select the type of battery you have, either standard, AGM or lithium, by holding the button down for 2 seconds when you're in the blue charging mode. Blue stays blue, that's standard. If it turns to purple, that's AGM, and orange is lithium. To power accessories is easy. Make sure you're in the accessory mode, which is the green light, and just plug them in. To charge the battery on the bike, make sure the button is pressed to switch the controller into battery charge mode, which is the blue light. Then plug in a power bank or power source via the USB-C socket. The default will be a slowly pulsing blue light, which will maintain the battery on the bike with a slow trickle charge. To switch to fast charge mode, press the button again and the light will start blinking quickly, and you're then in fast charging mode. Chigee is saying that in this fast charging mode with a 100 watt capable power pack, it can get enough power in the battery in just 5 minutes to start it. Even if we take that with a pinch of salt, that means 15 minutes should be ample, which is hardly a massive inconvenience unless you have a ferry to catch. One thing to remember about the charging is the bike can only charge at the maximum power of the battery pack. That's the draw of the battery pack, not the capacity of it, which on my pack is just 18 watts, but I have a more powerful 100 watt bank on order, which is a pretty lame excuse for another gadget, but a usable one. You may also be concerned that this is wired straight to the battery and is a powered device. So Chigee is stating that power consumption when you're not using it is just 185 picoamps, which according to them would take 3 years to discharge a 12 amp hour battery, such as that was on my GS, so basically not a worry. In summary, easy to install. You've got quite a few options of where to put it to suit your needs. The use is simple, especially once you get your head around the colours and what they mean. The key thing is having a power bank with high-speed charging if you want to make the most of it and use it as a backup on the road. If you don't already have a battery charger and maintainer, this is good value, so it replaces the need for one, and you get the dual USB charging, and pretty much everybody's got a USB mains charger floating around. Even if not, it's more useful than having to carry a jump start around with you or be sat at the side of the road waiting for rescue services. Last time I checked online, it was £94, so not cheap, but there is a lot of tech in this tiny little creature, and it potentially replaces quite a few other things and is convenient and it's powerful.